Hello, students. Good morning. This is Infancy. I'd be doing your first English poetry, the poem titled Grandma Climbs a Tree. Before we enter the poem, I'm sure during this lockdown period, you guys are enjoying with your grandparents at home or calling them up, asking about their well being, undoubtedly. So, in this poem, we see that. There's this grandmother who loves climbing trees and how she goes about it, how she does that. uh, Written by Ruskin Bond. uh, it is said by critics that Ruskin Bond's grandmother is about Ruskin Bond's grandmother. So basically, the grandmother loves climbing the tree. She enjoys the very company of tree, and then the family watches it. The child feels that she's genius, and slowly things happen that way, that she climbed the tree once and she didn't know how to get down, and then she was rescued, and there was this doctor who had come to check her. And what happens next is about the poem. Let's get inside the poem. So, Grandma Climbs a Tree by Ruskin Bond.
My grandmother was a genius. You would like to know why? Because she could climb trees, spreading her height.
So you understand by this that the poet says his grandmother was genius. You know why? It's because she knows to climb trees. I'm sure all your grandparents have different talents, spreading or high.
She'd be up their branches in a trice, and mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Ever since childhood, she had this gift for being.
So she was someone who loved climbing tree. You understand by that? And the last time that she climbed the tree, her age was 62. Keep 62 in your mind. So the last time that she climbed was at the age of 62. Ever since childhood, she had this gift for being happier. So she, ever since childhood, she was a very happy woman.
Being happier in a tree than in a lift. And though, as years went by, she would be told that climbing trees should stop, then one grew old, and that growing old should be gone about gracefully. She would laugh and say, "Well, I will grow disgracefully. I can do it better." And
So as she was getting older, people said, "You're getting older. Please don't do this. Um, Behave as far as your age is concerned, and that growing old should be gone about gracefully." So people commented that growing old, when you're getting old, you must have a graceful life. And she would laugh and say, "Oh, that's okay. I will not lead a graceful life." Is what she says. Like, I'm not going to listen. This happens when your parents say, "Please do this," and you're like opposite to it. "No, I'm not doing it."
we had to agree, for in all the garden there was not a tree she had not been at one time or another, having learned to climb from a loving brother when she was 6. But it was feared by all that one day she would have a terrible fall.
Okay, so she learned to climb by her loving brother at the age of 6. So when did grandma learn to climb the tree? When she was 6 years old. When was the last time that she climbed? When she was 62. Okay, so who taught her how to climb the tree? It was her brother. And then, but it was feared by all that one day she would definitely have a terrible fall. She would definitely fall. See, she's grandmother. Okay, she's getting, or she is weak. So people were telling, "See, one day you're going to fall."
The outcome was different while we were in town. She climbed a tree and couldn't come down. After the rescue, the doctor took Granny's temperature and said, "I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed." We sighed with relief and tucked her up well. Poor Granny. For her, it was like a brief season in hell.
Okay, so the grandmother, when they were in town, the grandmother climbed the tree and she was there in the tree top. She was unable to come down and she was rescued. Rescued in the sense she was brought down by people. People carried her down, and then the doctor took Granny's temperature and said, then she's old, right? She was in a great panic. She was afraid of. So to get rid of it, the family had called doctor, and the doctor checked the temperature and said, "I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed." So the doctor says, "Please take rest. Please take good rest." We said with relief and tucked her up well. So sad is saw in a way sad, okay? Uh, and they were like looked and they were a little relieved that nothing is wrong. The family members were in a good relief that nothing is wrong with the grandmother. Poor granny, for her, it was like a brief season in hell. So, but grandmother, who was so active, hyperactive, for her now it was like really a hell.
Confined to her bedroom while every breeze whispered of summer and dancing leaves. But she had held her peace till she felt stronger. Then she sat up and said, I will lie here no longer. And she called for my father and told him, undaunted, that a house in a
Okay, now grandmother as well. She was at home, she was taking rest. Now she's keeping well. Now, what she did after she kept well, she's like, no, I can't sit here. I can't, this is not my place. Okay, and then she called the father. Father is the son. Okay, please come here. And the father comes. That
treetop
is the son of the granny
or
comes.
she what now wanted. My dad knew his duties. He said, that's all right. You will have what you want, dear. I will start work tonight.
So the grandmother says, look, I want a house in the treetop. How beautiful to have a house in treetop. To live in a tree house. So beautiful, right? So the grandmother says, look, my dear son, I want a house in the treetop. Provide me with a house. And the son says, my duty, it is my duty to do what my mother is asking for. And he says, I will start with the work now. So the father, or the son of the grandmother, father of Ruskin Bond, starts preparing a tree house.
With my expert assistance, he soon finished the core, made her a tree house with windows and a door. So Granny moved up, and now every day I climb to her room with glasses and tray. She sits there in state and drinks sherry with me.
So a tree house is made like you see in the